Hey, how's it going? It's Wednesday. Hopefully, you're having a great Wednesday. This week, the topic is harassment and bullying. First off, I want to give a message to all the LGBT youth out there who may be being harassed or bullied or intimidated right now. You are not alone. There's nothing wrong with you. Homosexuality occurs in nature, by the way. Science proves that. There's scientific evidence and proof that homosexuality occurs in nature. It occurred before man walked the earth. So there's nothing wrong with being a homosexual. It's not unnatural. It's not an abomination. It's the way you were born. It's who you are. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And don't let anyone bring you down in life. The people who harass gay people, who harass LGBT youth, are cowards, are sexually insecure and confused. My take on this is that if a person harasses an LGBT person, especially a youth member of the LGBT community, they themselves are displaying their own insecurity. They are so insecure of themselves. They are so insecure of their own sexuality. They feel so desexualized that they have to bully and harass a person that is secure within their own sexuality, and have to harass a person who embraces their sexuality and is not ashamed of it and does not hide it. Now, after saying that, I want to give some advice, some tips, some tools that LGBT youth can use in their schools. And some of this may be hard work, but in the long run, it will help not only your school, not only your district, but the youth in general across this nation. It'll bring this issue to the forefront, and people will see it for what it is. The first thing you can do is, if you know someone who's being harassed or bullied at your school because they are gay, alert the faculty, alert the teacher, alert a janitor, who cares, alert the assistant principal. If they do not act, go above their heads, go to the principal of the school, not the assistant principal, but the actual principal, his boss. If that person does not act, go to the school board. If they do not act, go to the superintendent. If they do not act, go to the district. If they do not act, go to the State Board of Education. And while you're doing that, alert the media. Alert your local news stations, press, newspapers. If you have a P-flag group in your area, alert them. Alert any activist organization. If you have a labor movement, alert them, because a lot of labor movements are pro-gay rights. They support the LGBT movement. Alert other movements who sympathize with your movement or with your cause to build a united front to fight the harassment and bullying taking place within our schools. It will give you a sense of family, of community, of belonging, and a sense of pride and self-worth. Instead of allowing the person who is harassing you to overpower you, reverse it. Take control of the situation and make it into something positive. I know that's really hard, in the heat of the moment, but it will save your life in some circumstances. Now, if you don't have a group, a Gay Straight Student Alliance, form one at your school. Form a group, form a club. That way, students have a place to gather with like-minded individuals, a place where they feel safe, accepted, where they can express themselves freely, and where they can meet other like-minded people, where they can have their grievances heard. Those are just a few of my tips, personally, okay? And I know that is a lot of work to do, but if you do utilize those, and if you are really passionate about ending the harassment and bullying, those tactics and those tools will go a long way, not only helping your school district in your state, but you may empower others in other states, and it'll spread across the nation. Okay? One person to 5 people doing something large enough can make a difference. And I'm not bullshitting there. Now, my experience with being bullied and harassed, I was only bullied once, and it was in high school, and I'll let you know what happened right now. I was 15. At the time, I was homeless. At 14, I was kicked out of my household after I came out as gay, queer. So during high school, I went to school, but I was also homeless. So a lot of my backpacks and my material I got for schooling was through programs like the Salvation Army and other church organizations that did outreach to homeless youth or transient youth, and so forth. So I didn't have the best, coolest gear. I got whatever I could for free. But word had gotten around over the summer that I was homeless, and the reason I was homeless was because I'm a homosexual. Proud homosexual. Proud, fabulous, man-obsessed, cock-obsessed queer. And the jock at the school, the lead jock, the star jock, and every school has one, decided that he wanted to harass me for 3 days at the beginning of school. At the end of his little 3-day tirade, he threw me in the boys' bathroom and threatened to shove my head in the toilet. Proceeded to call me fag, queer, and said that nobody loves me, I should kill myself, and blah, blah, blah. Well, he shoved me into one of the stalls and proceeded to try to shove my head into the toilet. I kneed him in the balls. He didn't really take kind to being kneed in the balls by what he considered a faggot. And he told me if I don't stop trying to defend myself, he will beat me mercifully. Whatever. He then again tried to shove my head in the toilet. Again, he made a mistake of becoming level with me. So I punched him in the nose and gave him a bloody nose. He fell back hard enough to where the door of the stall swung open. I ran out. The teacher was waiting outside of the bathroom stalls. Outside of the boys' bathroom, I should say. And she asked what happened. So I told her, I'm like, listen, this person, this individual, threw me into the boys' bathroom after harassing me for 3 days nonstop about my sexuality and tried to give me a swirly and threatened to mercifully beat me if I would even dare try to defend myself. And the jock walks out with a bloody nose and walking like he has a hemorrhoid in his ass. And he tells the teacher that I was the one that shoved him into the bathroom, and I was the one that instigated the confrontation. Now, I grew up in Arkansas, which is a very neoconservative Christian fundamentalist area, and the school was heavily influenced in such a manner. So, of course, the teacher sided with the jock, and I was suspended from school for 2 weeks for fighting. But in the end, I won, because word spread around the school that the jock, this manly, supposed, hunker of a man jock, got beat up by a supposed feminine pussy queer. That was my only experience with being bullied. Now, do I believe that we need to pass more laws that make harassment of youth a severe crime, or the harassment of LGBT youth more severe? In certain circumstances, yes. We should pass laws to where if a person harasses an LGBT person, especially youth, to the point where they go home and shoot themselves, they should be charged with a serious felony. In my opinion, if you go online and you create a website for the sole purpose of harassing someone based on their sexual orientation, that is premeditated. If those words and what is on that site, the content leads to the death of that person, that is premeditated homicide. And that should be a felony, in my opinion. And that may be kind of extreme, but that's my opinion. That's my view. A lot of kids today see it as almost a rite of passage to harass LGBT youth at their schools, and it's enforced within our culture, especially within certain areas of the United States where Christian fundamentalism exists and is very prevalent, where religion kind of crosses over into influencing the government and the social norms within that area. So, in essence, bullying and harassment within our schools is a serious problem. We need, as a community, to give tools to our youth to empower them, to reclaim that space and to make it safe again. We need laws that better protect LGBT youth, and we need laws that prosecute those who harass the LGBT youth of our country. And we need laws that say that if one creates a website for the sole purpose of slandering or harassing a LGBT youth or any minority group, and that person in which you are harassing commits suicide based on the harassment in which is found on the content of the site, or whatever the extent, is charged with premeditated murder. And also with special circumstances of a hate crime. Not bullying, not harassment, but homicide. And I know that may be extreme, like I said previously, but that's just what I believe. And, to me, it's just very sad that this day and age, this type of social stigma still exists, where it is socially acceptable to harass someone just because of their sexuality. Not only that, but to harass them to the point where that individual becomes so depressed and so isolated that they go home and take their own life at a young age. If you are a person that is harassing homosexuals, especially homosexual youth, you are a shameful, insecure individual. You are only showing your own insecurity and your own ignorance, and that is your plight and not ours. As Americans, we should stand united, not divided. But sadly, division is more prevalent within this nation than it is anywhere else. And when it comes to harassment and bullying, and when that leads to death of our youth, it becomes a detriment. No mother should have to bury her child. No mother should have to suffer that pain, that anguish. Take care. Goodbye.